Welcome to today's video. In this video, I'm going to continue looking at ratio and proportion. So in today's video, I'm going to look at inverse proportion. So in this video, I'm going to describe what inverse proportion is, as well as I'm going to demonstrate how you can answer questions that involves inverse proportion. Watch this video up to the end as I'm going to describe inverse proportion and also solve some questions that involves inverse proportion. With that being said, let's get started with today's work. So in this video, we're going to describe what inverse proportion is. And what inverse proportion is inverse proportion is when one value increases, the other value decreases. When other value increases, then the other value decreases. Okay, so it's more or less like a seesaw thing. When the other side goes down, the other side goes up. When the other side comes down, the other side will go up. That is inverse proportion. Okay, so to understand more, I'm going to use this scenario. Okay, this scenario and these two questions. I'm going to use this scenario and these two questions to demonstrate more on what inverse proportion is. So the scenario is a contractor hired to construct a community market estimates that if he uses 30 workers, he could complete the work in 120 days. A contractor hired to construct a community market estimates that if he uses 30 workers, he could complete the work in 120 days. Now let's go to question 1. Question 1 is, how long would it take 45 workers to do the same work? Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go to the scenario where the contractor gave the estimates, where he said if he uses 30 workers, so in that scenario we're given 30 workers, he presumed that they will complete the work in 100 days, 120 days. That means we're given 120 days in that scenario. So those are the two variable numbers we are given in that scenario. Now let's come to the question. Then the question is, how long would it take 45 workers to do the same work? So in the question we are also given 45 workers. Okay, now we are told in the question we asked if 45 workers were used, how long is it going to take for the community market to be completed? If 30 workers would take 120, what about 45 workers? Okay, so now we are going to find the product of 30 multiplied by 120 as well as 45 multiplied by a known number which will represent x. So we're going to write like this. 30 multiplied by 120 days, 30 workers multiplied by 120 days, which is equal to 45 workers multiplied by x days. Okay, so this means that the seesaw should balance. The both sides of the equal sign should have the same value at the end of the calculation. Okay, so now as you can see, we have got 30 workers multiplied by 20 days. You can see that the units are different. We have got workers and days, so these are different units. So we need to simplify it on this stage before we confuse ourselves further. So what we're going to do is we are also going to remain with x on the other side so that we can find the exact value of x. So 45 workers will be confusing us, so we need to get rid of 45 workers first. Then we remain with only x on the other side. So to do that, we are going to divide both sides by 45 workers. So I'm going to write like that, then I divide by 45 workers. Okay, once I've done that, you can see that on the right side of the equal sign, we've got 45 workers on top and 45 workers down. That makes it easier for us to just cancel 45 workers out. Okay, so we cancel down and we cancel on top. Once I've done that, we will go to the left side of the equal sign, where we're going to simplify the expression we have. Now, as you can see there on top, we can check what is common on top and what is common down. Okay, so you can see that what is common, what is found on top and what is found on down here is workers. So we're going to cancel workers out. Okay, once we have cancelled workers out, then we can check whether there is a number that can go in any number which is on top and which is the number which is down. A common factor of a number on top, any number on top, and and the number down, which is 45. Now you can see that 30 and 45, they have got a common highest factor, which is 15. So we can use 15 to divide these two numbers. So 15 into 45 will go 3 times, then 15 into 30 will go 2 times. Okay, so now we have simplified that. Is there any number that can go into 3 and any number on top? 3 cannot go into 2, but 3 can go into 120. So we can use 3 to divide 3 by, we can use 3 to divide 3 and also to divide 120. So 3 into 3 will go 1 time, or 3 will be cancelled out. Then we say 3 into 120, it will go 40 times. Okay, now once we have done that, now let's write what is remaining. Because if down here we have got 1, we can say 1 into 2, it will give us 2, which will be multiplied by 40 days. Remember, days has not been cancelled, so it's there, so they are remaining with 40 days. So 2 will be multiplied by 40 days, which is equal to x. Okay, once we have done that, then we are going to multiply 2 by 40 days, will give us 80 days, which is equal to x. So 45 workers will take about 80 days. Okay, 45 workers will take 80 days to complete the same task. So we can write it down as it will take 80 days, because we ask how many days it will take, how long would it take, so it will take 80 days. So if the contractor decided to hire 45 workers, that means it will take 80 days to be completed. Okay, now let's go to question B. Okay, question B is if the work must be completed in 60 days, how many workers would be needed for the job? If the work must be completed in 60 days, how many workers would be needed for the job? Okay, so here what we're going to do, we're going to go back to the statement like we did earlier on. We're going to get information there which we are given, where we are given that 30 workers would take 120 days. Then when we come to the questions, we are given, when we come to the question, we are given 60 days. So in this question, we are given if the work must be completed in 60 days, so we're given 60 days. How many workers do we need? Okay, so we don't know. So what we're going to do, like we did, we're going to multiply workers by the days they will take. Okay, so we're going to multiply 30 workers multiplied by 120 days. Okay, this time I'm going to start with 60 days multiplied by x. I've just thought of swapping. Okay, 60 days, which will be equal to 60 days multiplied by x, because we don't know how many workers, which is going to be equal to 30 workers multiplied by 120 days. Okay, once we have done that, then we are going to divide both sides by 60 days. Why? Because we want to remain with x on the other side alone, on the left side of the equal sign alone. So we're going to divide both sides by 60 days. Okay, once we do that, then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to cancel out what is on top and what is down. So you can see on the left side of the equal sign, we have got 60 days on top and 60 days down. So we're going to cancel these out. Okay, so that we remain with x alone. Then we come to the right side of the equal sign. You see that we have got days on top and down. So we're going to cancel 60 days on down. When we divide the 60 days by 120 days, we'll get 2, which is the answer. Okay, when we divide the 60 days by 120 days, you are going to get the answer, which is 2. Okay, now we're going to write what is remaining. So we're remaining with x here on the left side of the equal sign. Then on the right side of the equal sign, we're remaining with 30 workers multiplied by 2. We are remaining with 2 there. Then we are going to multiply 30 workers multiplied by 2, which will give us 60 workers. So it will take 60 workers to complete the same work in 60 days. It will take 60 workers to complete the same work in 60 days. So that is the correct answer. It will take 60 workers to complete the same work in 60 days. Okay, so we can write it as it will take 60 workers to complete the same work in 60 days. Okay, so that is what will take the 60 days will be the days the 60 workers will take to complete the same work. So as you can see now, in this question B, the number of days were reduced, hence the number of workers was increased. So it's like the number of workers of the number of days to work was reduced, then the number of workers was increased. When you look at the number of days, it was cut, it was reduced to half, and the number of workers has increased to half. More than, yeah, the number of workers has doubled. If you look at in question A, you find that the number of workers was increased by half, then the number of working days was also reduced by half. Okay, so if you look at that, you understand that when the inverse proportion in the other side reduces, the other side increases. So basically this is what inverse proportion is and how you solve questions that involves inverse proportion. Thank you so much for watching. It has been easy learning Z mathematics. The future is bright. See you in the next video, and God bless you.